I've always possessed an uncanny ability to decipher people, reading their innermost thoughts like open books. Yet, I never anticipated that my own mother-in-law's latest chapter would unfold with such chilling lethality. My name is Ilara, and, for the past decade, I've leveraged my expertise in human behavior to aid federal agents in apprehending fraudsters and manipulators. The irony isn't lost on me. I, who could unmask the most cunning schemers, utterly missed the grandest manipulator of all, dwelling directly under my nose, or more precisely, in the sprawling estate next door. "Darling, you're nervously adjusting your wristband again," my husband Kieran whispered, his warm hand gently covering mine. We sat amidst the opulent, antique-laden meeting room of his family's manor, the towering grandfather clock in this yai. Corner chimed with an ominous regularity, each tick marking the dwindling minutes until the crucial legacy meeting commenced. "Apologies," I murmured, consciously steadying my hands. A disquieting sensation lingers today. The grand double doors swung inward, revealing her, Evelyn, my mother-in-law. She glided into the room, clad in her customary charcoal gray suit, a garment likely more valuable than my entire vehicle. Her smile, though perfectly formed, failed to reach her eyes as she entered, followed by Silas, our long-standing family legal counsel. "Esteemed family, thank you for gracing us with your presence," Evelyn announced, her voice a syrupy melody that belied the micro-expressions of danger flashing across her face. It was a combination I'd observed countless times within the confines of interrogation rooms. "Before we commence, I've arranged for some light refreshments." Our beloved German shepherd, Buster, trotted in behind her, his tail wagging with his usual enthusiasm. My gaze fixated on Evelyn as she reached into her eye pocket, producing what appeared to be a homemade canine treat. "Buster has been such a commendable boy recently," she cooed, extending the offering. The usually ravenous Buster hesitated, an anomaly for our perpetually food-motivated companion. My brother Liam caught my eye from across the expansive room. He had always been my unwavering silent anchor, and his subtle head tilt signaled his own recognition of the unusual pause. "Mother, perhaps we should initiate the proceedings," Kieran interjected, consulting his chronometer. "I'm scheduled for a video conference in 90 minutes. Evelyn's left eye twitched, a distinct tell I had cataloged during our innumerable mandatory family dinners. "Naturally, dear. Silas, shall we proceed?" As Silas began outlining the updates to the Aldridge legacy, my attention remained fixed on Evelyn's hands. Her right index finger tapped a rhythmic pattern against her thigh, another undeniable tell. She was clearly anticipating a specific outcome. My smartphone vibrated discreetly, a message from Willow, my closest confidant, who managed the local veterinary hospital. "Received your query. The symptoms you described for Buster last week are abnormal. Shall I initiate a full diagnostic workup?" I cast a worried glance at Buster, who had retreated to a secluded corner, the untouched treat lying neglected on the ornate Persian rug. In 15 years, I had never witnessed him refuse a morsel of food. "Ilara," Evelyn's sharp voice sliced through my contemplation. "Do endeavor to focus, dear. This pertains to your future as well, meager though it may be." The thinly veiled contempt in her voice caused Kieran to stiffen beside me. Before he could respond, Buster suddenly swayed unsteadily. "Oh dear," Evelyn feigned concern, her voice dripping with practiced solicitude. "Perhaps he's succumbing to an ailment." I rose abruptly, my chair grating against the polished hardwood. "I shall escort him outdoors for some fresh air." "Nonsense." Evelyn dismissed my suggestion with a languid wave. "Anya, dear, would you—" My husband's cousin, Anya, gracefully offered her assistance, but I was already moving. "I insist," I declared, mimicking Evelyn's cloying tone. After all, he is, in essence, my dog. As I guided Buster from the room, I deftly pocketed the discarded treat, acutely aware of Evelyn's piercing gaze boring into my back. In the silent corridor, I I hastily dispatched a text to Willow. Require immediate analysis of a sample. Suspect someone is attempting to orchestrate a diversion. Liam appeared beside me, his presence a steadying, reassuring anchor. You discerned it too? I nodded, maintaining a low tone. She desires chaos during this assembly. The critical question is why. The formal review of the Aldridge legacy isn't scheduled for another half-year. Unless, Liam mused, unless she has already enacted alterations of which we are unaware. Exactly. And she requires everyone to be sufficiently distracted to avert detection. Buster leaned heavily against my leg and I stroked his fur. Do not despair, my good boy. We shall unravel her machinations. Exercise caution, Alara, Liam cautioned. You are well aware of her disposition when she perceives a threat. I managed a grim smile, recalling the myriad instances Evelyn had attempted to sabotage my marriage, undermine my standing within the family, and even negate my very existence. Oh, I am. However, this time she has committed a pivotal error. And what might that be? She overlooked my vocation. I straightened my shoulders, my mind already formulating a meticulous strategy. I do not merely interpret nonverbal cues. I comprehend the intricate psychological underpinnings. And at this precise moment, every fiber of her being broadcasts a colossal secret. The meeting room portal opened, and Kieran peered out. Is everything satisfactory out here? I squeezed his hand reassuringly. All is well, my love. Merely affording Buster some respite for recovery. Upon our return to the assembly, I intercepted Evelyn's calculated gaze. She envisioned herself as the grand puppeteer, manipulating everyone's strings from her impeccably poised vantage point. But I had dedicated my professional life to dissecting individuals precisely like her, and I was on the precipice of becoming her most formidable adversary. Let the games commence, mother dearest. The abandoned treat felt weighty in my pocket as I drove to Willow's veterinary clinic the following morning. Buster had recovered from a restless night, but the unsettling incident had left an unshakable unease in my stomach. Are you absolutely certain about this? Willow inquired, scrutinizing the treat under the stark fluorescent lights. Her customary cheerful demeanor was eclipsed by a mask of professional concern. Testing for toxins is an expensive endeavor, and if your hypothesis proves erroneous, I am unequivocally certain, I affirmed, pacing her office. You should have witnessed her expression when Buster refused it. She was distinctly displeased. My smartphone vibrated. Kieran. Greetings, love. Is everything in order? Indeed, I replied, endeavoring to maintain an even tone. Simply sharing coffee with Willow. Mother is inquiring about Buster. She intends to deliver more of those treats she prepared. I exchanged a glance with Willow, who promptly shook her head in a subtle gesture. Inform her, kindly, that Buster is currently adhering to a specialized dietary regimen. Veterinary directive. After concluding the call, Willow leaned back in her chair. You must apprise him, Alara. Apprise him of what? That I suspect his mother attempted to poison our dog to disrupt a legacy meeting? I chuckled without humor. He would never credit my assertion without irrefutable evidence. Then let us acquire the evidence. Willow meticulously sealed the treat within an evidence bag. I possess an acquaintance at the toxicology laboratory who is indebted to me a favor. We can anticipate the results within 48 hours. My smartphone vibrated once more, this time a text from Liam. Evelyn just telephoned. She is orchestrating an urgent family supper this evening. Claims she possesses marvelous tidings to impart. Impeccable timing, I murmured, presenting the message to Willow. You are not actually contemplating attendance, are you? I retrieved my handbag, already heading for the exit. Naturally I am, and I intend to scrutinize every single micro-expression on her countenance as she endeavors to execute whatever stratagem she is devising. Alara, Wait. Willow overtook me in the parking area. You require support. Permit me to accompany you. To a family supper? She will discern suspicion. Precisely. Willow grinned. I shall serve as your control group. Furthermore, she consistently attempts to arrange a liaison between me and that unsettling relative of Kieran's. I might as well ensure it serves a purpose. That evening, Evelyn's grand dining hall buzzed with the usual assembly of kin. Anya was seated adjacent to Willow, practically radiating satisfaction under Evelyn's approving glances. Liam had strategically positioned himself between me and the family matriarch, while Kieran engaged Silas in a discussion regarding a legal matter. Prior to our repast, Evelyn announced, standing at the head of the lengthy table, I wish to offer my sincerest apologies for yesterday's unpleasantness. How fares, Buster, my dear? Considerably better, I responded, observing the subtle clenching of her right hand around her wineglass. Though we are exercising prudence regarding his dietary intake. Such a pity, she sighed with feigned regret. He once adored my homemade confections. Speaking of delights, Anya interjected, her voice saccharine. Aunt Evelyn, were you not about to share some commendable news? Ah, yes. Evelyn's countenance, illuminated with a practiced theatrical enthusiasm. I have resolved to implement certain revisions to the Aldridge legacy. Nothing of great import, merely modernizing it for the contemporary epoch. Beside me, Liam tensed beneath the table. I pressed my foot against his, our childhood signal to remain composed. What manner of alterations? Kieran inquired, his brow furrowed. Oh, merely ensuring that the appropriate individuals are adequately provided for. Evelyn dismissed his concern with a wave of her hand. Silas has been remarkably instrumental in reconfiguring everything. I observed Silas meticulously. His fork paused midair for precisely 2 seconds, a hesitation that conveyed a wealth of information. When did you intend to apprise us of these modifications? I inquired, maintaining a light, casual tone. Evelyn's smile tightened infinitesimally. I am apprising you now, am I not? Unless you are under the impression that you possess some exclusive prerogative to advance notification? Mother! Kieran interjected, his voice edged with warning, but I gently placed my hand on his arm. Not in the least, I stated smoothly. I am merely inquisitive regarding the timing, considering the standard review is still months away. Well, Anya interrupted, I believe it is splendid. Aunt Evelyn invariably knows what is most beneficial for the family. My smartphone vibrated, a text from Willow. Her pupils dilated when you alluded to the timing. She conceals something monumental. Indeed, I declared, rising and elevating my glass. Why do we not propose a toast to these alterations? To family, and to the inevitable revelation of truth. Evelyn's glass trembled imperceptibly as she raised it. To family, she echoed, yet her eyes remained chillingly devoid of warmth. Later that night, as Kieran and I drove home, he was uncharacteristically silent. You believe something is amiss with the legacy revisions, do you not? He finally posed. I selected my words with deliberate care. I opine that your mother is exceedingly proprietorial of what she deems hers. She is merely endeavoring to provide for everyone. Is she? I turned to face him. Or is she striving to exert control over everyone? Before he could articulate a response, my phone illuminated with a message from Willow. Laboratory results are anticipated tomorrow morning. Be prepared. I gently squeezed Kieran's hand, hoping I was sufficiently fortified for whatever the morrow would unveil. For one truth was irrefutable. Evelyn's meticulously constructed facade was beginning to fracture, and I needed to be ready for its ultimate shattering. The laboratory results lay upon Willow's desk like a loaded firearm. I scrutinized them thrice, before the implications finally permeated my understanding. Belladonna extract, Willow stated quietly. A low dosage, yet ample to induce severe illness in a canine without immediate fatality. It is engineered to cause protracted distress. My hands quivered as I retrieved my smartphone to telephone Liam. He answered on the inaugural ring. Confirm she perpetrated it, I urged, my voice barely stable. We possess incontrovertible evidence. The treats were adulterated. By the ancestors. A protracted silence ensued. What course of action do we pursue next? Rendezvous with me. At Whisperwind Gardens in 20 minutes. Ensure you bring your portable computer. Willow grasped my arm before I could depart. Elara, this is grave. We ought to involve the civic precinct authorities. Not yet, I countered. Firstly, we must ascertain the motive. This transcended mere disruption of a meeting. It is of greater magnitude. The gardens were tranquil in the early morning light. Liam was already present, seated upon our customary bench, his portable computer aglow. I conducted some preliminary investigation, he divulged as I settled beside him. Silas has made numerous excursions to the estate over the past month. Late visits, deliberately unrecorded. Display the evidence. He summoned a series of security camera captures from the estate's main gate. Silas's vehicle entering at 21 Y, 22 Y, occasionally even at midnight. That constitutes atypical legal counsel conduct, I murmured. There is more. Liam opened an additional window. I unearthed this, legally registered within the county records. Evelyn formally submitted a legacy amendment 3 weeks prior. My smartphone buzzed. Kieran. I disregarded it. The temporal alignment corresponds to when Buster first exhibited symptoms, I observed. She necessitated a diversion sufficiently grand to preclude anyone from scrutinizing the legacy modifications. But why such urgency now? Liam queried. What is so pressing? Before I could formulate a response, another message arrived, this time from Anya. We must converse, privately. It pertains to Evelyn. I presented the message to Liam. Do you surmise it is a snare? Likely. Nevertheless, we require intelligence. I acceded to meet Anya at a quaint cafe downtown. She was already awaiting my arrival, nervously shredding a napkin. I inadvertently overheard something, she began without preamble. Last night, subsequent to everyone's departure, Evelyn was discussing with Silas the imperative of securing the inheritance prior to a certain expiration. What is subject to expiration? Anya glanced surreptitiously around before inclining closer. I lack precise knowledge, but she alluded to a deadline, something concerning the foundational legacy, conditions, and a 50-year mandate. My smartphone vibrated again. Kieran, for the third instance. I finally answered. Where are you? He inquired, worry palpable in his tone. Mother has convened another family assembly for this afternoon. She asserts it is critical. Naturally, she does, I muttered. I shall attend. After terminating the call, I redirected my attention to Anya. Why are you divulging this to me? She averted her gaze to her mutilated napkin. Because I witnessed her preparing those treats. She was transformed, terrifying. And whilst I may desire my portion of the inheritance, I do not covet it by such nefarious means. Back at Willow's clinic, we huddled around her computer, meticulously, searching for information regarding the original legacy document. There! Liam exclaimed, pointing at the screen. The 50-year mandate. The foundational legacy was established by Kieran's grandfather with a proviso. After 50 years, should specific stipulations remain unfulfilled, the entirety of the Yal estate would be bequeathed to charitable endeavors. And allow me to surmise, Willow posited, that deadline is imminent, occurring next month. I have confirmed it. Evelyn is desperately endeavoring to redraft the legacy before its activation. My smartphone illuminated with another text from Silas this time. Require private discourse with you. It pertains to the legacy alterations. Meet me at my chambers. It could constitute another trap, Liam cautioned. Or it could be our opportune moment to acquire tangible proof, I countered. Silas has been acting erratically. Perchance he is experiencing reservations. I shall accompany you, Liam insisted. At Silas's chambers, we discovered him pacing fretfully. I can no longer partake in this, he blurted out as soon as we entered. The modifications she desires, they are not mere refinements. She is attempting to entirely abrogate the foundational legacy. Present the evidence, I demanded. He produced a voluminous folder. The original legacy stipulated that the inheritance be employed for familial cohesion and philanthropic undertakings. Evelyn's proposed revisions would grant her absolute dominion, devoid of any obligations. And the 50-year deadline? Silas's head snapped upward. How did you— We are aware of the mandate, Liam interjected. What we require is incontrovertible proof of her machinations. Silas hesitated, then reached into his desk drawer. I retained duplicates of everything, including her directives concerning the legacy meeting diversion. My smartphone buzzed one final time. Kieran again. Where are you? Everyone is awaiting your presence. I gazed at the damning documents within my grasp, then at Liam and Silas. The time has arrived to conclude this. Let us proceed to afford Evelyn the family assembly she has so persistently requested. As we journeyed to the estate, my fingers brushed against the lab results nestled in my pocket. One way or another, this insidious game of manipulation and covert poisoning was hurtling towards its inevitable conclusion. The estate's winding driveway seemed interminably long as a flood of memories resurfaced. Every subtle slight, every insidious manipulative maneuver Evelyn had orchestrated throughout the years. Recollect the summer gala debacle? Liam inquired, as if privy to my innermost thoughts. How could I possibly forget? I responded, recalling that catastrophic event from 3 years prior. 3 years earlier. Oh dear, Evelyn had remarked, inspecting the antique sculpture I had gifted Kieran. It possesses a certain uniqueness, though I suppose you could not have known it is a replica. The authentic pieces command a considerably higher value. It was unequivocally not a replica. I had expended months meticulously tracing that specific artifact, aware of Kieran's profound appreciation for the artist's oeuvre. Mother! Kieran had protested, but Evelyn was far from finished. Arthur instructed me to remain, to observe, to await. This is utterly preposterous. One of Evelyn's legal representatives commenced, but Silas firmly cut him off. The stipulations are unequivocally unambiguous, he announced. With irrefutable proof of attempted fraud, Evelyn's claim is rendered null and void. The 50-year mandate activates precisely as Arthur intended. No. Evelyn lunged desperately for the documents, but the security detail proved swifter. Mother, desist, Kieran stated quietly, his voice devoid of emotion. It is concluded. This aligns with Father's ultimate wishes. As Evelyn was once again escorted away, her screams of betrayal echoing through the grand hall, I opened Arthur's meticulously prepared file of philanthropic blueprints. He had every detail meticulously charted, I informed the assembled representatives. Educational initiatives, medical research endeavors, community development projects, everything comprehensively outlined and prepared for immediate implementation. Then let us honor his wishes, Kieran declared firmly. All of them. The subsequent hour unfolded in a blur of signatures and firm handshakes. The legacy would now perpetually fund the charitable foundations, whilst concurrently maintaining the family estate as a central hub of operations. Kieran would assume comprehensive oversight, with myself managing the investigative facets to preclude any future fraudulent attempts. Your father would undoubtedly be immensely proud, Clara conveyed to Kieran as she prepared for her departure. of both of you." After everyone had departed, Kieran and I stood within Arthur's study, gazing at his framed photograph. He orchestrated this entire intricate scenario, I mused thoughtfully. He located me, strategically positioned everyone with the precision of a grandmaster chess player. Kieran concurred with a nod. But why did he not confront Mother himself? Because he understood that the family had to forge its own destiny. We were compelled to demonstrate that we were superior to her corrosive manipulation and insatiable avarice. My smartphone illuminated one final time, a message from an unidentified number. A masterful performance. However, familial secrets possess an innate tendency for resilience. Best of fortune. I presented the message to Kieran, who frowned. "Do you surmise it originates from Mother?" "No," I articulated slowly. "I suspect another entity has been observing our endeavors, and I harbor an unsettling premonition that our work is not yet entirely concluded. After all, within families, such as ours, there invariably lurks another secret, patiently awaiting its discovery." The enigmatic text message relentlessly gnawed at my thoughts throughout the night. At dawn, I found myself instinctively drawn back to Arthur's study, meticulously searching for any detail we might have inadvertently overlooked. "I anticipated finding you here," Liam remarked from the doorway. "You possess an inherent inability to leave a conundrum unresolved." "Something remains incongruous," I muttered, my fingers tracing the spines of the antiquated books lining the shelves. Clara possessed an excess of knowledge. Her positioning was far too meticulously orchestrated. My smartphone chimed. Willow. "Activate the news immediately." I seized the remote control, flicking on the study's television. The headline displayed upon the screen caused my heart to constrict with a chilling dread. Former confidential assistant. Detained in multi-million Aldridge legacy fraud scheme. Clara was not Arthur's sole confidential assistant, the newscaster announced with grave solemnity. She concurrently served numerous affluent families, systematically aiding in the orchestration of legacy manipulations across the entire Dominion. She ensnared us, I breathed, the realization striking me with overwhelming force. "Not precisely," a familiar voice interjected. We spun around to confront Anya in the doorway, clutching a portable computer. "I have been conducting some personal investigations. Clara did indeed work for Arthur, that much is accurate, but she also served another individual we are intimately acquainted with." She rotated the laptop, revealing an aged photograph. Clara, 2 decades younger, standing alongside a smiling Evelyn. "They were collaborators," Anya explained, her voice low. Clara would assist families in establishing trusts, whereupon Evelyn would subsequently infiltrate as a financial advisor to systematically manipulate them. My smartphone buzzed. "Kieran, discovered something significant within Father's secure vault. Hasten your arrival." Within the master bedchamber, Kieran stood holding a portable data drive. It was concealed behind a cleverly disguised panel. Father bequeathed a video recording. We congregated around his portable computer as Arthur's visage materialized upon the screen. He appeared fatigued, yet resolute. "If you are observing this," he commenced, his voice calm, "then Clara has likely presented herself with my correspondence. Do not repose your trust in her. She and Evelyn have engaged in clandestine collaboration for a span of years, leveraging family legacies to clandestinely finance their own illicit endeavors. That is precisely why he established the 50-year mandate," I realized, a cold wave washing over me. "He was assiduously constructing a comprehensive paper trail. The authentic documents are secured within a safety deposit box," Arthur continued, his voice unwavering. "Box number 247 at the First National Bank. The key is adhesively secured beneath my desk drawer. Everything requisite to expose the entirety of their illicit operation resides there." Kieran paused the video recording. "We must act with utmost dispatch." "Already initiated," Liam affirmed, terminating his telephone call. Civic precinct authorities are en route to Clara's last known whereabouts. At the bank, the contents of the safety deposit box revealed decades of damning evidence. Photographs, audio recordings, bank statements detailing millions of units of currency flowing through labyrinthine shell corporations. "Behold this!" Anya exclaimed, pointing to a document. "They did not merely target our family. There are dozens of other victims." My smartphone illuminated. Another unknown number. A perspicacious young woman. "But can you substantiate any of it before the funds vanish?" "They are observing us," I informed the others, displaying the message. "They are aware we have unearthed the incriminating evidence." "Then let us provide them with something worthy of observation," Kieran declared grimly. We meticulously orchestrated a pretense of departing the bank empty-handed, whilst Liam covertly transferred the entirety of the documents to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Within a matter of hours, illicit accounts were frozen, and arrests were systematically being executed across the entire Dominion. Upon our return to the estate, we discovered Evelyn awaiting our presence in Arthur's study. "I must concede," she stated quietly, her voice devoid of its usual condescension. "I underestimated you, both of you." "Why?" Kieran inquired, his voice laced with profound disappointment. "Why perpetrate such actions against your own kin?" "Kin?" she scoffed, a bitter, hollow laugh escaping her lips. "Family is merely a utilitarian instrument, dear." Arthur was keenly aware of that fact. "Why do you surmise he condescended to marry me in the first instance?" "Because he needed to expose your entire operation," I realized, the full gravity of Arthur's brilliant long-term plan finally crystallizing within my mind. "He married you to safeguard countless other families from your predatory machinations. Her smile faltered, a fleeting flicker of genuine shock crossing her features. "He divulged this to you?" "He divulged everything to us," Kieran stated, his voice resonating with an undeniable authority. "Within his video confession, the very one we have just transmitted to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. The escalating wail of Civic Precinct, sirens grew steadily louder beyond the estate walls. "It is concluded, Mother," Kieran continued, his voice tinged with a weary finality. "Truly concluded this time." As the uniformed officers escorted Evelyn from the premises, I located the concluding segment of Arthur's video message. "Kieran, Ilara." His voice was softer now, imbued with a profound tenderness. "I extend my sincerest apologies for subjecting you to this ordeal. Yet I possessed an unwavering conviction that the two of you would ultimately discern the truth. The legacy, you see, transcends mere monetary wealth or charitable contributions. It is fundamentally about truth, about possessing the fortitude to confront those who would corrupt sacred familial bonds for personal enrichment. Tend to one another, and always remember, the most enduring legacy we can possibly bequeath is the inherent courage to consistently act with righteousness." That evening, as we sat in Arthur's study with Liam, Willow, and Anya, Kieran solemnly raised his glass. "To Father," he declared, his voice imbued with heartfelt reverence, "who imparted upon us the invaluable lesson that genuine family is not predicated upon lineage or financial assets." "To Arthur," we echoed in unison. My smartphone vibrated one final time, a message from Silas. "Legacy documentation is complete. The philanthropic foundations are now irrevocably secure. No entity can ever compromise them." I surveyed our disparate yet unexpectedly unified family. My steadfast brother, my loyal confidant, my reformed cousin-in-law, and my beloved husband. We had collectively confronted insidious manipulation, venomous deceit, and profound betrayal, yet we had emerged from the crucible of adversity, undeniably stronger. "So," Willow grinned, her usual cheerful demeanor fully restored, "what grand endeavors await the world's most compelling expert in nonverbal communication?" I smiled, my thoughts already drifting to the countless other families undoubtedly requiring assistance. I believe we may have unequivocally discovered our true purpose. After all, certain legacies are unequivocally worth contending for.